Have you turned it on? And it's set offline.
You know, I actually am. I was sitting there today. I'm thinking, in there talking to Jay. And I said, you know what? I like
Really work. Oh my, sure. That's because you paid in. Took it every payment. They like to talk about
so I said, you hang it.
they keep track of it. You've got to do it. I'm old school. I'm old school. You wouldn't know.
Step on you a little bit.
We say it.
Yeah. No, I just went and picked up.
You get a garden bed? You have got friends.
I got buddies, yeah.
They'll give you everything you need.
Don't have to. Why would I put them out in the hole and let the neighbor pick them? Or he might bring them to me.
They pick them for you.
Yeah.
I have 7 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order. We'll start with prayer. Let's do a pledge of prayer and then the pledge of allegiance.
Prayer first.
Yep, let's do prayer first.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we do come to you tonight in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Father, we just thank you for this great county. And Father, we just pray for all of the board members tonight. We just pray, Father, those in attendance, that Father, that we would look at the things with wisdom and guidance. And Father, in our country right now, that, Father, they're crying out for prayer, but, Father, prayer has been taken out of schools. And, Father, we just thank you. In your word, it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9, that we're hard-pressed on every side, persecuted, perplexed. And, Father, the hard-pressed on every side is people under financial strain and perplexed, feeling a place of uncertainty in these times. But, Father, it says we might be struck down, but we're not destroyed. But, Father, tonight we just speak hope across this land. And, Father, may we watch what comes out of our mouth. The word says that we will give an account for every idle word that comes out of our mouth. So tonight, Father, we thank you and we praise you in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Kenny Barr.
Here.
Barbara Bennett. Mark Bennett.
Here.
Teresa Banks. Here. Brian Kaufman.
Here.
Cassie Cox. Dennis Durnovich.
Here.
Jesse Durbin.
Here.
Julie Edwards. Here. Gary Gergany.
Here.
Rod Height.
Here.
Matt Kessler. Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Warman.
Here.
Gary Patterson.
Here.
Derek Piercy.
Here.
Robert Simpson.
Here.
Jeff Slifer.
Here.
David Squitz.
Here.
Don Tate.
Here.
Lynn Williams.
Here. We have a quorum. First thing is approval of the minutes from the May 12th meeting. Everybody should have received those in their emails or in their packets. Is there any additions or corrections to those?
I have some corrections.
Okay.
On the vote on the packages for the 3 elected officials, I did, it's only showed on one, but I did vote no on all 3 of the amendments. And I voted in favor of all 3 of the packages after they were amended. And it's not shown that way.
Okay. I will correct those.
One of them is correct on the amendment, and 2 of them are correct on the vote, but anyhow, they're not correct.
Any other additions or corrections? All right, can you take a motion to approve the corrected minutes? Is there a second? Bobby seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, public body comments. Please give me your name when you speak so I can write you down and make sure you get your full time. I'll open it up.
Hi, my name is Annie Favero. I am with Gregory's. I know we just mentioned it last meeting as well, but we're just looking to potentially get a liquor license. And we just wanted to see if maybe we could have a liquor license committee before the next board meeting, or just get an update maybe on that process.
We would hope to have a liquor meeting sometime in the next month.
Okay, before the July meeting, do you think? Or July?
That is the goal.
Okay, cool. That's all. Just wanted to introduce myself.
Thank you. Any other public body comment?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
John Kraft with a K. Ready?
I'm ready if you're ready.
All right, I'm ready. To the sheriff's audit, I think the county board owes it to the employees, past, present, to find out who and exactly how much those people were underpaid. And at the same time, the county board owes it to the public to find out the employees, past and present, by name, who was overpaid and by how much. So I'd urge the county board to dig in to the audit findings and determine which person was overpaid by how much and which person was underpaid by how much, and let the public know. That's all I got. Thanks.
Any other public body comment?
Thank you. My name's Kurt Allen. I don't know if I'll be able to cover all of this, but I'm going to ask questions. I hope that we can get some answers. Mr. Simpson, you were on the law enforcement committee when some action was taken back in 15, 16, 17, and 18. There was a document created May 8th of 2020 that the three members at that time signed. Three members of the prior committee signed. Are you familiar with that document? For created pay for 4 sergeants. You remember that? No comment? My question is, why was it created 2 to 3 months after the criminal investigation started? Who typed it up? And for what purpose? Because it outlines what your committee did 5 years ago from the date of this document. The appearance is it was created to justify certain pay to 4 sergeants. For those that aren't familiar with this document, it says, although this was not an FOP agreement, it was agreed to by current union members. Well, you can't just arbitrarily change the contract and give people more pay. But that's exactly what this document points to. I'd really love to have some answers to who typed it and why, 3 months after the investigation was started. The evidence from the auditor confirms it wasn't 4 sergeants getting the pay. It was 7 people, 2 secretaries and a dispatcher. They're not listed on this document for getting pay. Why were they? Any comment? I didn't think so. We have some other documents that I found noteworthy in light of some of the fabricated information being shared about our organization. For a couple years now, we've heard we're a bunch of liars. We were told there was no criminal investigation of the highway engineer. Well, I've got an email from the Attorney General, came from your state's attorney, specifically says that investigation is being handled by the Illinois State Police Special Investigations Unit. And your state's attorney, Nicole Cronky, is asking for a special prosecutor. How ironic. Why would we need a special prosecutor? And why would it be investigated if we're liars and it's not being investigated because he did nothing wrong? He ran a business out of the county office for 20 plus years and then wasn't honest on the statement of economic interest. Your own public records prove it is being investigated, or was being investigated, and there's been no determination made yet. And there's a longer list of FOIAs that went out today because of now the evidence pointing that we were absolutely right. We knew we were right because we were part of making that investigation happen. I would love answers to some of these questions, and I think the public deserves some answers, because there's also communications after recusal where your state's attorney is communicating with the Attorney General's office supplying documents. That's not recusal. That's a problem. That's all I have. I reserve my time. Thank you.
1:50 left. Any other public body comment? Any other public body comment?
If none other, Brian, I'll finish my last minute or whatever it was.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
I beg the board, talk to someone familiar with labor law. You have, according to your audit, an outstanding balance owed of over $300,000 to union members, and that's a slam dunk lawsuit that they could take you to federal court to recover that money. And you will not only have to pay that money, you will have to pay the attorney fees and the court costs under the Fair Labor Law standards. I beg of you to be proactive and fix this problem and get those who are owed paid before you end up in federal court. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other public body comment? Any other public body comment? Any other public body comment? Seeing none, we're going to move on to number 4 on the agenda, County Highway Engineer Steve DeWitt with the engineer report.
Just right here, I guess.
Yeah, you're fine right there. Just speak up a little bit.
First thing on my list here is discussion and vote on Rebuild Illinois resolution. We're looking to appropriate $100,000 of those funds to go towards the Westervelt Bridge. I expect that we'll probably get 80% of those funds back. We have utility adjustments that we have to pay for up front, and then we can get reimbursed from the federal grants that we have in one major bridge grant. So this is just to preload the account to pay for that, and then we'll get probably 80% of it back or more. Just needing to vote on that.
And this is for the moving power poles.
Yep, so we have to move 6 power poles, and we had EJ Water out there move some water lines, made it go deeper underneath the channel. So in order to get the cranes in and everything, this has to be moved. Fortunately, they were off our right of way, so we have to pay for that to happen. We have to pay for the lawyer fees. We have to pay for the new easements with the adjoining properties. So.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution? Mark, do you have a second? Gary? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kenny Barr. Mark Bennett.
Yes.
Teresa Bain.
Yes.
Brian Kaufman.
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivich.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergety.
Yes.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Warman.
Yes.
Gary Patterson.
Yes.
Gary Piercy.
Yes.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Slifer.
Yes.
David Switz.
No.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 18 ayes, 1 nay, Switz.
Okay. The rest of it, there's not a discussion about it. I think it's a typo. Bridge inspection updates. All the bridges are inspected now. We found some minor problems on the Finley Bridge. We're reaching out to HLR to get a proposal to get some drawings drawn up to get us a plan on it. We're probably going to work with Moultrie County on this. They have a couple bridges over Lake too that have some similar problems. I think if we can work with them, we get one contractor in the area, it's probably going to be a cheaper rate for us. Like I said, it's minor, but it needs to be addressed.
When you say problems, is that a shifting or is that?
There's bearing plates underneath the beams on top of pier caps, and one shipped a little bit, it's lost its anchor bolt on it. So we're going to have a company with a snooper truck go underneath and do with some iron workers and do some iron work on it.
Thank you.
Next on the list, project updates. Country Club Road, I know we keep talking about this. It's scheduled July 11th as of now still. Westervelt Bridge, since I think I sent this to Jessica, it's probably, we got some notification from the contractor, which got it from the fabricator, which is County Materials. They're looking at more delays. They're looking maybe not even starting until August 1st now.
Why the delay?
I don't know what the excuse is now. I mean, everyone kept on saying COVID, but I don't know now. It could be county, they may be the only ones in the area doing them.
You're talking about county material,
Yeah, yeah,
which is not Shelby County, it's the name of the county is county material.
yeah. We're kind of at the mercy of when we can get the beams. We're not going to start taking the old bridge apart until we get the beams. Unfortunately, that's probably going to push us into school season and farming season on this, which is not what we want to do, but it's reality where we're at. This is more of a township project. Cold Springs and Okanee. We were going to be repairing some pillars underneath there, columns. It's delayed until drier weather. They need to get down into the stream bed, dig down, and reinforce it, and then also build up some embankment underneath the bridge. So once the stream goes down, we're hoping to get that started. The area-wide striping contract, last year didn't get done because of COVID. Enos Paint's got some shortage in paint, of course, this year again. The state puts out a bid for this, which they go through in, I think the winner was Varsity out of Champaign. We missed it this winter because we didn't have an engineer to get on it, but I was lucky enough to get a hold of Moultrie County, and we're going to write off their bid on that, and hopefully get some of these roads striped. I'm going to go with more probably the asphalt and the concrete ones, because we'll be oil and chipping this summer, and I don't want to cover that back up, so. Yes.
The Malik Blacktop Bridge just outside of Malik.
Okay, so we haven't even, I don't even think the biological clearance has been done on some biological clearance. That's another thing with the state. It's taken sometimes over a year to get. I know the farmers in the area probably want to know what's going on. I don't see that going this year, in my judgment.
I can answer people's questions when they ask.
Okay. June letting, we have the Shelbyville Township bridge on it. I think that's still a go for now. Other than that, that's all I have for the highway department. General updates. I think, as you guys know, I tendered my resignation May 18th. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to serve you guys as the county engineer. But my family and I have decided to go a different route with my career.
Sorry to hear about that.
Anything else for Steve? Thank you, Steve.
Oh, Gary.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand
Well,
here.
just real quickly, how long do you expect the Westervelt Bridge to take once they do start on it?
Oh, I gotta remember what the working days was on. I've looked at so many contracts here lately. That could be 2 months or so. 2.5 months. I can't remember how many working, it might have been 75 working days on that one. I could probably get back to you on that.
Okay.
I could have Reed reach out to them.
With you turning in your resignation, is there going to be any, I don't know how to put this, is a county going to suffer because losing the engineer?
Well, I think any position that's open, county's probably going to suffer.
Well, I meant on like grants or this or that.
Well, everything for this summer's rolling. Everything is still in development. Grant-wise, I don't think so.
Okay.
I have a question. With this grant, I don't know if you've put in any grants or not, but if the paperwork is done, that's basically what I'm asking, not only for grants, but since you're going to be leaving, if there's any, there might be some paperwork that needs to be fast-tracked. And I'm asking you to...
So there's no grants out there that are in progress, the ones that we've just received. Other paperwork with that would be, I guess, sign off on the project when it's done, turn in the final paperwork into IDOT, which then transferred over to
Okay.
grants.
All right. All right, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Sheriff Reynolds, you're up.
Well, the issue I have, and I've talked to Jay Scott today, I don't know if there's anything we need to vote on, but I just want to update you on, back on August 12th of 2021, there was a request for body cameras, and there was a bid quote that was signed, and that included a payment due August of 2021 of $17,361. And as best I can tell, no money was ever appropriated. This payment's not been made. So that was technically last fiscal year, and there's another upcoming invoice date of August of 2022 of $17,361, which again, there's no money in my budget for that. I've been in contact with Axon, and they're willing to work with us, and they work with a lot of governments. And we've talked to some, we asked them, we haven't used this equipment yet, could we box it up and ship it back to them? They didn't say yes, they didn't say no, they want to try to work out a deal to keep this contract in place. The other question, the other thing that they brought up is possibly shifting the dates of this contract. Since the equipment's not been used, or just adjusting the dates, but they'll have to get an answer higher up in the corporation for that. I actually asked that again today by email and did not get a response on that. If we in essence could make our first payment come the new fiscal year, September 1st, and then just shift back the contract dates. So I just want to make you aware that there was in essence, a contract that was entered is the way you feel, Jay, that this was a contract we entered in and there was no money appropriated for it, and we're going to need some. The other thing is there was a grant opened now for the state of Illinois from the training board. It closes on May 24th, June 24th, but we would not have time to appropriate the money, pay the invoice, and be able to apply for this grant. But the fiscal year 23 state grant is also better funded and broader in what you've been asked for in the grant too. So we just don't know when that will open, coming sometime after July 1st of Illinois' fiscal year. Is there anything else I missed, Jay, that you talked about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
We've already spent $30,000 for the window project out of ARPA, correct? Could we not appropriate funds out of, or use that as reimbursed? Because the standard deduction of using the funds for anything that we could budget, we could shift ARPA right into it. An idea.
What dollar figure are you looking at for the first payment and the dollar figure for the second payment?
The first payment was $17,361.81, and the second payment was $17,361.79.
Okay.
Yeah. So $34,700, something around there.
Okay.
Brian, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it typical, and I'm just still trying to figure out how these work, but is it typical for us to enter a contract, sign a contract, agree to make a payment for purchase, and not put it in a budget?
Well, I can't answer that completely. I don't think that's probably accurate the way it should be done. This was done by the previous sheriff. Sheriff Reynolds came in with this already done.
Right, no.
His hands are kind of tough, handcuffed on this. Didn't mean to make a pun there. But I would say the correct way to do it would be to appropriate the funds, get the information, appropriate the funds, sign the stuff.
So the way, when we want to pay for something, or we want to pay employees or whatever, the way to do it, if I'm correct, we appropriate it in the budget, we then bring it to the board to vote on it, correct?
I think it would go through committee first,
Okay.
and then if it passes the committee, then it should come to the board, which that was voted on by the board, I believe, that contract. We voted on that as a board back in July, August of last year.
And so then we just forgot to appropriate the money. I'm just trying to understand, how does...
There's been a lot of times there's been money
$34,000
spent that's not been appropriated throughout the last year, 2, 3, 4, 5
Okay.
years. It's happened numerous times. It's happened this year numerous times. I don't know what the correct answer is there.
Does the committee, do you guys have any input on that?
We honestly did not know until last month that no grant was received. The bill hadn't been paid. We didn't know till last month.
We was going off grant money and counting on the grant money being here.
Okay.
What's the deal there?
Okay.
So was a grant applied for?
Do you have an answer to that?
No, the grant was closed up until, it was actually on June 1st when I got the email.
So we were led, when we voted on this last year, there was a grant that we were expecting to receive to take care of this. That's why the vote was taken and was passed the way it was. Yes, ma'am.
So can we, with a new budget coming up for September 1st, can this money be appropriated into the next budget? Since it's been a year, we have to pay them anyway. Can it go into the next budget for us would that be workable or not?
I think so, I mean, but,
You know,
I can't
I mean, that way-
speak for them, but like I said, they're willing to work with us,
You know, to move forward and fix it that way?
Derek?
Yeah, I jotted down a couple notes as I thought about this. The main point was, yeah, we were told, and Mr. Patterson went back through notes too, that, I don't remember what the exact word was, but it was done, received, or finalized something on the way anyways, but it wasn't ever done, I guess. There wasn't ever any money appropriated. There is that small possible grant right now. There could be bigger ones later. I think you've got time on your side though. This isn't law till January 2025. So you've got the kind of luxury of having a little bit of time. You don't really have to do anything with it right now, aside from the invoices from that company. It was 5 payments, it's 17,000, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we're basically ready to hit payment number 2 on that. And something I thought about the other day too was a lot of that cost has to do with storage space. And once you start that, you hit the clock, and you're paying for time paying storage. So that clock's been running for a year. So if you make payments that are backdated a year, you're basically paying for storage that you haven't used. So if the option of restarting that clock isn't available, the second option would be to send them back, try to get a different grant later, and that one's a gamble a little bit on how that works out. But I don't think backdating and keeping that clock running on that would be the best financial move.
I would agree with about everything you're saying, except for one thing. And I've been a stickler on this. I've been quoting on this numerous times. We have a signed contract. That is our name. That is our word. I am big on, if I sign something, that is my word. And as a county, we have signed that. That is us saying we are good for this. This is what we're going to do. That's the only issue I have with that. I agree 100% with what you're saying as far as turning and sending them back and trying to get a clock started anew. But that signed contract is what I have a problem with. So, and the board can take whatever direction they would like to take here. That's just me. You guys want to make a vote to send them back? Make a vote to send them back. I'll call any vote, any motion. Mark?
What's the sheriff's opinion?
well, I didn't ask for them in the first place, but, we will need cameras by January 1st of 2025. I would not wait until the last minute to get them, but like I said, we have a contract that was entered into, so I'm not sure they'll accept them back for sure.
Mark?
One thing he stated was they were willing to make some adjustments, which the contract's a contract, but also with some of that.
It can be amended, I understand.
Is the storage. What did they actually suggest? Again, I think you did touch on it.
They just said that the dates of the contract are possibly be adjusted, that they would have to basically get a higher approval within their company from the sales rep and sales manager that I was having a phone call with.
Okay, so there wasn't any particulars set.
Right, no.
The other thing on the contract is it has, the units are replaced during this 5-year contract, so that clock's also started, so we've got units that we're not using that are obviously going to be replaced without full use, so I guess like he kind of mentioned, if they were rebuilt and we put them into use and our clocks all started, at least we would not lose a year of use, because that's two big things that were in there. Is I think they were going to replace the cameras 3 times during the 5 years, and then we have that memory, and those are both high-dollar items. I mean, they were, I'm going to say half the bill just from memory, but if you read the bill, there's a big amount of that was in the software and the replacement of the units during the contract.
I guess my suggestion, Sheriff, would be to continue seeing what their feeling is and report back to us again next month with a possible solution.
Okay.
If that sounds good to everybody on the board. I'm seeing nods, yes, here, so that would be my suggestion for you. I think it's an agreement here.
Once we start using the body cams, whether it's now or a year from now, do we need extra personnel? Because once we start doing that, isn't there a lot of like logging or things that need done as they use them for?
Possibly.
the
It
events?
is, again, it's an unfunded mandate coming down from the state, and it does come with some administrative and logistic burdens to it. And then there's report keeping of it, there's a lot of time that goes with reviewing and redacting and providing these either for possibly court or FOIAs. They are time intensive.
So do we need to figure on extra personnel?
I don't know if that needs to be
I
done
know
now.
you
It will at some point possibly when we cross that bridge.
Okay.
I guess to be completely precise here, would somebody like to make a motion to have him continue looking into it and report back to us next month?
I will.
Teresa?
I'll second.
I'm drawing a blank, gosh darn it. I just drew.
Julie,
Julie, yeah, I am completely and 100% sorry. I drew a complete blank. Julie seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Number 7, Jay?
We have a MOU that was negotiated with the AFSCME union, and basically it provides for dollar per hour raise for all of the employees to pay the full cost of their health insurance premium for everyone that participates in the wellness program. And then there's a hazardous duty bonus to the highway, health department, and animal control, lump sum of $2,000. Everybody else, $1,500. Any employees who had to take off time for COVID and did not get paid for it would be paid for those days. And the same as the MOU with the Sheriff's Office, it's predicated on ARPA funds being used for these matters.
If they do not go...
Before we have discussion,
Sure.
Can we get a motion? Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll move that.
Lynn makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Don takes seconds. Now you may
Okay, thank you.
discuss.
My question was, I want to make it really clear for the employees that, who do not decide to go on the wellness program, that they could be hurt with insurance, is that correct? Because they choose not to go on the wellness program?
Well, there's no payment to them.
There's no payment to them, so if they don't go through the wellness, then there would not be a payment to, okay.
Correct.
Okay,
kind of an
and
incentive.
everybody knows that, right?
Yes.
I mean, all the union employees
I
and non,
assume everybody that was at the meeting knows it, so.
Okay.
And it's part of the
Yeah.
MOU that everybody will get, so.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Julie?
So, are we voting to pay this money now? That's what we're voting on?
Yes.
Going back a little bit, did we appropriate this money in the budget? Have we?
Julie. So this is a personnel issue, we can amend the budget to accommodate personnel issues.
But have we done that? Don't we do that first?
We have not done that.
Okay. But don't we do that first? I'm fully in support
Well,
of
they're
the-
paying, this is coming out of their budgets already. And when the
Okay.
budget runs out, then it will be, help me with the correct word, Erica, it's reimbursed, it's not reimbursed, it's,
Not reimbursing, but I mean, a lot of the departments maybe don't have this in their budget. It's not in my budget, because when I budgeted, I budgeted based on what my
Right.
employees were gonna get paid.
right.
We have to budget it out of IMRF, Social Security, and then each office budget for our deputy clerks, whatever position. So the budget will need to be amended, and we'll probably again have to amend, potentially, IMRF,
Yeah.
Social Security, and then the ARPA, the funds are just transferred
Right,
into those
transfers,
funds.
that's the term I was trying to use.
To cover the cost, but they have to be budgeted in those, in the general fund, Social Security, and IMRF.
Yeah.
So So wouldn't we need a solid, like a concrete number from each department so that we can amend the budget before we pay?
When that department's budget needs to be amended, they will amend that budget at that time.
Okay.
The negotiating committee have a number in mind? But
Yes.
that was for what this MOU is gonna cost.
We had a number originally from the original proposal that the ASME group gave us, but the hazard pay dollar figure went down, as well as the bonus money reduced, and we did not attempt to recalculate that number, as I recall,
To answer your question, Julie, the MOU has a dollar figure, but it's gonna be split across, what, a half a dozen offices probably? So each individual office will figure out what their dollar change is gonna be and then amend their budgets, and then we'll deal with that after we get that figured out.
Aren't we trying to get away from that practice?
This is a personnel issue. Personnel emergencies are two amendable items.
Okay.
And I get what you're saying, yes, we should have appropriations set before we obligate, but this is
Sharon?
So this is considered hazard pay for these employees?
Hazard and premium pay.
Okay. And some of the employees, I don't know if some or all, when they were out with COVID 2 years, a year ago, whenever that was, didn't they get paid like with sick time at that time, or so they've been paid for it once, correct? So then why are we paying them again?
right?
Yes, John?
Okay, there were, I believe the ASME group said, there were 2 employees that either were out of vacation, sick days, etc., that had to take time off because of, I suppose, family issues. There were 2 employees that the MOU said we would pay them for the time that they didn't get paid for, that they had to take time off, which I think the MOU originally from the ASME group said that that would cost the county about $1,100.
But number 4, it says all employees who take an unpaid time off for COVID-related incidents since March 11, 2020 shall be paid with it. So if they didn't have an eligible benefit time, they would be reimbursed for those. And that's what this says.
I don't know the names of those 2 employees that were turned over, but I have to go back and check, but we did have one employee that did apply for short-term disability for COVID and was paid through the short-term disability option that the county provides. And I'm not sure how that would work if they received funds through the short-term disability, but not through a regular paycheck of the county. It would be something that would need to be looked at, because that probably wouldn't go well with people of Omaha.
My committee was just going by what we were told by the ASME negotiator.
And I understand that, I'm just saying one of
That's
those
why
potentially
I
received
understand.
pay. And that might create an issue, that's all I'm saying.
I understand.
Could I say something on that?
Sorry. Teresa?
How many employees are we talking about?
Don, do you remember that number?
In totally, or these,
Total, us 2 employees.
I don't know that I've got a good number for that, truthfully.
The original paper we got like in April had either 19 or 20 names on it. I don't know how close to accurate that number is.
That was the number I was trying to come up with, yeah. Gary?
Bellwether has commented that we run the risk of running out of money on this. To me, it looks like that number needs to be nailed down before,
We have a pretty hard number on this MOU.
but I'm just not in the habit of spending my own money without knowing what the bill's going
We
to be.
put this MOU is a pretty hard number.
Didn't seem like that to me.
Teresa?
Can we know what that number is?
Don, do you remember what that was?
I do not.
I don't have the paperwork with me.
I know that I saw a hard number based, I mean, yeah, originally it was like,
On these numbers, though, not on.
no, I do not have a number.
I thought,
A
Erica,
hard number on
thought
these.
you sent that to him before the negotiating, they
The
met
numbers
with
that
ASME.
I sent 6 weeks ago or so were for what ASME was requesting. I have not even seen what this agreement is to come up with new numbers.
Okay.
I was obviously going to be lower than what the original numbers were considerably. I want to say the first numbers were around 600 and some odd thousand, but
And it's not even close to
it's
that.
not close, but I haven't seen this agreement, so I don't know.
No. Oop, I'm sorry.
Number of people.
This is the original proposal, not what they agreed to.
No, but you want the number of people.
Oh, number of people, yes.
I believe there's 20 on there. Yes.
The original numbers were also retroactive to December 21st because that's what ASME had been requesting. My understanding is this MOU is not going retro.
There's 20, yes. Derek?
My question is similar to hers. I just want to know if anybody has the dollar values, like number 2, health insurance premium through August 31st. And I know the dollar value of that total. Okay. And then the Highway Health Department Animal Control lump sum payment of $2,000. What's the total on that one?
Whatever the total you've got there will be cut in half, because that's what we did.
And then
So that total was 67,000, so that would be 30,
for which one?
33.5 roughly.
Yeah. Okay. And then on covered employees shall receive lump sum payment of $1,500. What's the total out on that?
That's.
The lump sum is, instead of
The lump sum is what
67,000,
he said, 33.
it'd be roughly 33.5, and half is 67,000.
All the employees who took unpaid time off, that reimbursement, how much the total on that?
1,100.
Thank you.
Cassie, I know you had your hand up before the other two did.
So the last point here talks about, like, if it's later determined that these funds aren't available, that, you know, we're gonna try to get creative essentially, but we're not obligated. But the sheriff's department didn't have that clause, correct?
Correct.
It's in there.
Is it in there? Okay.
It does say the same thing, okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Mark, you had your hand up.
I'm a little bit curious as to, when it says Highway Health Department Animal Control, lump sum of 2,000, and then all other employees get 1,500. Can I ask what the basis was for that difference, the $500 difference?
I believe what they were thinking when ASME came to us was the health department was more at risk because they had more people they were dealing with in the public. The highway department was more at risk because they were out with the public more and so forth and so on. So that's what I would say to the answer to that. And it's all negotiations. It was negotiated the way it was then at the end. I felt the negotiating committee did a wonderful, phenomenal job in getting it done to where they got it. So.
I understand that, but as far as dealing with the public, I think that the secretaries and all the people working in this courthouse are a lot more exposed to the public than what the highway department was, because they're usually working on their own light.
I would have tended to agree with that, but I'm just telling you what the rationale was from there. And this came from the union. This did not come from the board. It did not come from, the union is the one that negotiated this. The union is the one that has said they would approve this.
understand.
So, why nitpick on that? I mean, if they're good with it. Any other discussion?
Yeah,
Teresa?
probably gonna get dirty looks. Do you think we ought to table this until we can come up with a figure?
I second.
Are you tabling it? Are you making a motion to table this?
Yeah.
There's a motion made to table this. Is there a second? Julie? May I have any discussion on the tabling of the MOU on the ASME contract, ASME?
Right. This is all retroactive going back dates, right?
Yes.
So,
Just the
no,
insurance.
so it starts June, starts with the pay period after tonight's meeting.
The only thing retroactive.
Yes, it's retroactive back to, the original thing we wanted retroactive back to December 21, which was when the FOB went in, but this negotiated this back to, down to June, like the pay will go out June 24th.
So if we table this, we're gonna have to go back to the board, back to the negotiating committee and redo that?
I would assume that's probably right.
If we if we table this, it is just, they have simply made, so AFSCME has made their proposal, the committee has agreed. The board is now looking for more information that we can get on our own. We don't have to go back to negotiating for anything. We still have an agreement to work with. We need a dollar figure, is why the table has been made or proposed. Well, we need a dollar figure, so the information that we are looking to attain is all internal on our side. That has nothing to do with their side. So, no, I don't see why we need to go back to negotiating.
Okay.
It would
Makes
still
sense.
start the 24th, the first payroll. I mean, we might just have to go back
Must be retro.
retro to the 24th, but if we stick to that June 24th number, they'll get their back pay.
Now, to answer-
That was my question, to
Okay.
that we get back pay.
To clarify Jeff's question though,
Okay,
the effective and retroactive part was only on the health insurance. On, item number 2. That was the retroactive December 21st, agrees to pay the full cost of employees' basic individual health insurance premium served. August 31st, 24 to those participating in the wellness program. So that was one part that's retroactive. Anyway.
so my question is to Teresa, intent of the motion is to find out what a dollar figure would be on that. Okay, thanks.
Teresa?
While we're finding out things, I do have one more question. The letter that was attached to the email that we got from Jessica, it was addressed to Brian and Jay, and it was the one with all the signatures on it of the employees. I guess this is the group that is the non-union part of this. Okay, so is that a separate thing that we will talk about as far as
It's the next
that?
item on the agenda.
Okay, never mind, never mind. I'm good.
Cassie?
When we're getting a dollar figure, maybe even getting some clarity on budget line items in the process, figuring out where that would go, so that we can kind of go through it in an appropriate order.
Any further discussion on the tabling of the MOU?
Could you read the motion?
Hold on. The motion is to table the resolution for the MOU for the ASME Council until the next meeting to get further information of total numbers, where it would be at in the budget, and I think that covers it, sounds like. Am I correct, those two main things?
But they would still be made whole. I mean, they're not gonna lose anything if we pass it at the next.
Who knows what'll happen at the next meeting?
This agreement says effective after July 9th. June 9th, I'm sorry.
So if we go to next month, it would still be effective June 9th, and then it would be retro. But that is, it's similar to like the FOP contracts where we didn't,
That's what I was
like in December, when we agreed to that, it goes back to August and has to be fulfilled, so.
So it would be retro back to today.
Yes.
Yes,
David? David?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I kind of got a rough number, to suit you. So like 280,000.
About half the original proposal.
Less than that, less than that. The bonuses were cut in half, and then, $4 off the hourly rate. So you want to figure that's kind of about what, and then insurance. If everybody does it. That's a rough figure.
Not
Julie?
that I don't trust your calculations 100%, but I've learned we probably ought to get things in writing. So if you could break those numbers down in writing, and I'm more than willing to vote on it, but I just think that we probably need to know.
We don't know how many have insurance. They may not all 20 have insurance.
So you don't know the number.
But can't we find that out?
Yes, our HR department could. I don't know. The individual departments know, but I don't know. But I hear you.
Don?
Plus, the only thing you can do is guess what the cost of the premium pay is gonna be, because highway department may have overtime hours, et cetera. I mean, there's no way to nail this thing down 100%. The only thing we can nail down 100% is the bonus pays, the $1,500s and $1,000, $2,000. That's the only thing I know of we can nail down.
You can go based off the average overtime. The highway department doesn't have very much overtime every year. You can take average over the last 2 years.
Okay, well, I don't know this, so I mean,
Which is what I did with the numbers that I gave you, but it's changed considerably. And like I said, I haven't seen the MOU. I can get you some pretty close numbers when I see the MOU, and I can figure based on what employees and who's on insurance, who's not. We just did the wellness check, so I'll know who participated, how that will go. But I have to have the document to come up with numbers.
Mark?
For the most part, Eric answered the question I was going to ask of her. But as Teresa asked, you gotta let somebody do the figures, come up with a number, instead of us just guessing.
Yeah.
Sharon?
When we're discussing contracts and the MOUs and that, should we be going into closed sessions to be doing this?
You gotta vote on the contract, you can't vote on the resolution MOU in closed session, it's gotta be all done out in the open, so.
Thank you, Erica.
Any more discussion on the tabling? Gary?
With some of the problems we've had over the last few years, with agreements and pays and everything, I think we need to look at the numbers closer and pay more attention before we spend the money. Because that's got us in some pretty hot water.
Yep. Any other discussion? All in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Could you raise your hand, please?
Motion is tabled. Bobby, you're next.
Yeah, so, number 8 on the agenda, discussion and vote on equal treatment of union and non-union employees per the Ashland Union, for the MOU. No matter what we do in July, I'd like to make a motion that the board approves equal treatment of non-union to union. And really the basis on that is, that's what the letter was, that was signed. Okay?
That's the
That's all the
signatures I got,
signatures.
yes, yes.
And these employees work side by side, and they should not be discriminated against. So they should have equal treatment.
Is there a second? Gary seconds. Any discussion? Gary?
I assume this is the case, each department has to have a non-union member working in it.
I believe that is the case. What I've been led to believe, there's
Yeah,
at
so
least
we're hiring-
one non-union in each
We're
department.
hiring some jobs and filling with somebody, and we tell them, you cannot belong to the union.
That is the case I've been led
And I
to
think
believe.
that needs to be.
Who makes that
made in this when
determination?
you're
I cannot answer that.
Making that choice.
Cannot answer that. David?
So, you guys just made an issue about how much this MOU for the ASME costs. We only have a certain amount of funds to use. So how are you gonna do 2 groups before you know what the second group number is? There's only so much money to use. You can only do this one group at a time. It has to be negotiated with the union. I'm sure, positive, there's a plan for the non-union employees. But you have to get one done before you go to the next. There is, no one's holding out on the non-union employees.
Those numbers were turned over as well, because when I figured the numbers for ASME, I also figured numbers for non-union employees, because it's not fair to our offices and our employees to not be treated equal. So those numbers have been turned over as well, and they will be considerably less, because the agreed to amount was less. But I will have those numbers as well, once I see the agreement.
So to what you were referring to, there's only so much money to use. In the Finance Committee, with the MOU at being half of what it was proposed at, without the Finance Committee meeting again, I could spitball off the top of my head that there would be enough funds to include the non and union employees. And if we would agree that we're going to do this for non-union and union employees, then we would have a total number of employees to work with and a total number that the MOU is going to cost. Does that make sense? We would have a total of both. And whether or not it comes through, or whether or not they're union or not, it's still a fund that the county is using to pay the premiums in the hazard pay. So.
We're still trying to figure out the MOU for the sheriff's department's gonna cost.
Yeah.
That's still up in there a little bit. So when you go past this $4 million, it's coming out of our general fund. It's plain as plain can be. So, you gotta do one step at a time here so we don't run out of money. Okay? So, we get this MOU passed, I'm sure we'll move on to them, and we'll give them something. But until you do that, you don't know how much you can even offer.
Cassie?
Just ethically speaking, is there an argument to be made if we, as the county, are saying somebody in this office can't be in the union, but also not treat them the same as the other people in the office? Ethically, I personally can't come up with an argument for that.
Steve?
The reason why you have departments that do not have union people in there is if the union goes on strike, the department can keep operating. That's why you have a deputy.
Makes sense. Teresa?
That's what they've said for years.
Yeah, I think that that's probably right, but I do have a question. Is there any of the people that are the clerical people, the non-union people, who, not being the deputies in the office, but they choose not to be in the union?
Cannot answer that.
I think we have one employee in the courthouse that chooses not to be, that could be. One.
You still pay fair share though, don't they?
Pardon?
You still pay fair share. Fair share? Don't they still pay fair share though?
They pay their dues?
They pay their dues.
Do they pay their dues?
I believe it's in the contract that way.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
It's brand new employees, so I can't answer that.
I don't know. but
Which
it's-
office is that?
Pardon?
Which office?
Supervisor of assessments?
Okay. Thank you.
That's the only one you know of, Erica?
It's the only one I'm aware of. I mean, the downstairs side isn't a part of the judicial side, but yeah, it's the only one that I'm aware of.
That's a classified position by the ASME union. It would have to be a classified position.
And that's a new employee.
I just have one real quick question. On the group, we got the list of the non-union employees. Are all of those full-time employees?
Yes, all of them requested it for full-time employees, and it was in the email, full-time only, not part-time employees.
Okay, so
Full-time.
those are all full-time?
full-time,
And
yes.
everybody who qualifies is on this list then? There wasn't anybody that was not asked?
I don't know that everybody signed it, those are the ones that we got signed, but it would extend, I mean, it wouldn't probably not to probation because the court sets their side,
I don't think probation's on there and stuff.
and it's not on there.
Kelly Tallman's not on there.
That's what I wondered.
It's the union offices, the offices that have union employees is who is on that.
So there could be more than 12 people, is I guess what I'm getting at.
You don't have to decide, I mean, that's what I need is numbers so that I can.
Right, I mean, if you do your estimate, you're gonna need a number, and that's what I'm wondering, if this letter is the correct number, or if there will be more numbers than that.
I don't know, because I don't know what you're gonna extend to the non-union offices. This was with the offices that are covered under the union contract and has to have a non-union employee.
So, and probably Erica can answer this. So right now, in any department, when you've got union and non-union, if they've been there the same amount of time, they're not getting paid the same amount of pay for the same job? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're saying that we would want our non-union employee to receive the same hazard premium pay
Okay.
that, you know, the
Yeah,
sheriff
they're
department's
the union
getting in
people.
union. Yeah.
Any other discussion? This we'll do a roll call on.
Kenny Barr,
No.
Mark Bennett,
Yes.
Teresa Bank,
I don't want to vote, abstain.
Brian Kaufman,
Yes.
Cassie Cox.
On treating everybody equally, that's what we're voting on?
Tabling the AFSMI,
No.
no.
This
Oh,
is,
wait a minute, then I'm
you're on the
wrong.
wrong one.
Yeah, I am.
We didn't
We didn't do that.
do
Okay,
a
no,
roll
this
call
is
now.
to treat the union the same as the non-union.
yes. Sorry, I should have repeated the
That's
motion.
okay, I just want to make sure that I'm,
You are correct in what you're getting ready to
then
vote.
yes, my vote is a yes.
That was my mistake. I should have
That's
repeated the motion after that long discussion.
Jenny Durnovich,
Present.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Gary Gergany,
Yes.
Rod Height,
Yes.
Larry Lenz,
Pass.
Sharon Ongman,
Yes.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Gary Patterson,
Yes.
Derek Piercy,
Yes.
Robert Simpson,
Yes.
Jeff Slifer,
Yeah.
David Switz,
No.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Abstain.
Okay, motion passes 14 ayes, 2 noes, Switz and Barr, and 1, 2, 3 abstain. 19.
All right. Jay, you're up. Your last time here.
This is another MOU to,
Another resolution.
another resolution, excuse me, sorry, to pay under the MOU with Sheriff's Office for the new employees that have been hired to only pay their base pay out of the sheriff's budget, but to pay all the incentives out of ARPA, because he's got previously budgeted funds that can cover the base pay of a new employee.
So basically, it's going to be, none of the extra pay that we approved will be, only the extra pay will be paid out of the ARPA funding. The regular pay what should have come out of the regular budget will be still come out of his regular budget. The only transfer of the money back will be what is the premium pay for the FOP. So it clarifies a little wording, sets it up a little better. Yes.
So moved.
We got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Jeff? Okay, we can have discussion now. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a point. This will open up some funds to move forward with the ASME MOU further on down the road. So there is funding available when we get a hard number, or a really close hard number.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Kenny Barr.
Yes.
Mark Bennett.
Yes.
Teresa Bain.
Yes.
Brian Kaufman.
Yes.
Cassie Cox.
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivich.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergany.
Yes.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ogman.
Yes.
Bobby Warben.
Yes.
Gary Patterson.
Yes.
Garrett Piercy.
Yes.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Slifer.
Yes.
David Switz.
Yep.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, Bobby, you're up again.
So what I'm handing out is the email correspondence with myself and the forensic auditor, John Vandenberg. After the audit report was presented, and in the audit, it was noted that there was information withheld, and we probably don't have enough. So, we figured out what he didn't have. Oh, sorry, Brian.
Can I have one too?
Sure. I asked Sheriff McReynolds for the log-in, log-out report. The office sent it over to me. I sent it to John, and I asked him the questions. Now, if you look at this email chain, if you look at the back page, and then move forward, and then go from bottom of the page up, it explains the chain of events as the emails came through. So, my request, as you can see, was actually a forward of a previous request. So it's the same thing that was let out in April 14th of 22, and I received it May 13th of 22, and then I sent it on May 18th of 22 to John, and I asked these questions. Is this the information that you had requested and was denied? Were you able to use these records in your Shelby County payroll forensic audit? The response was the attachment wasn't included. Okay, I didn't catch that part. But the attachments were the log-in, log-out report. But he was aware, as you can see, of what I'm referencing. His response then continues, when I was at the Sheriff's Department, I inquired about receiving the report from Bob Skowski and Tina Wade. Bob informed me that the computer system had recently been updated and that the information was no longer available. I was not able to use that information in the audit due to not being able to assure the accuracy of being able to replicate for testing. In other words, if the information was manipulated, then I could not be able to tell or rely on it. So, facts of the matter is, the log-in and log-out reports were obtained. They were not turned in to the forensic audit, creating a faulty forensic audit, and I make a motion that we have a revision to include the log-in, log-out. Now, it's my understanding, so my motion is to make a revision and update, whatever I put on the agenda. Revision in addition to the Sheriff's Department forensic audit.
Is there a second? Cassie? Discussion?
I'd like to table this until we hear from John now that it's,
Well,
he's supposed to be
that's-
here next month.
Yeah, and as I was looking through my emails today, I saw that John's gonna be here next month, so.
I'll second that.
I would second.
Seconded by Lynn.
But nonetheless, you have the information.
What was Orman's initial?
His initial,
Story, we want to hear what he's got
hold on
to say
just,
as well.
hold on just, please. I'm working through something here real quick. Your motion was to,
Have to have a revision in addition to the forensic audit with the information that we have.
and it was seconded by Cassie, correct? Okay. And then we had a motion by Jeff
To table.
to table, which was seconded by Lynn. Opened up the discussion for tabling, which we had it opened up. You agreed kind of with John won't be here next month, and okay. I tried to get him here this month, and he just couldn't get here.
Yeah, understood. I saw that in the
Yeah.
update from Nicole.
I wasn't trying to put anything off, it just,
No,
May was a rough month for a lot of us on this board, so, all right, any discussion on the tabling? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Any committee reports? Don?
The window have been secured, I guess, or stabilized, how you want to put it, and the bill has been submitted. When I was here last Thursday for the meeting with the the MOU with the Ashley Group, and I talked with Matt afterwards. He said if we fix these windows, he felt like we could do a whole lot for improving the efficiency of the heating and cooling system, because he said, when I get up here, I can feel all kinds of cold air coming out between where the two windows sashes meet. And he still felt like his number for doing a historic restoration of the windows of in the $7,000 a window was
valid,
probably doable for that.
how many windows are there?
About 100.
Yep.
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure you were finished before I moved on. Thank you, Don. Jeff?
I was out by the county farm last week. Beans look excellent. Really looks good. Stu did a good job.
He called me this week and was informing me of that, and he also said he would try to get in the next week or two, get the roadsides mowed to really slick it up and make it look better, so. Any other committee reports? Updates. Yes, my only one update I do have, I don't remember, some of you weren't on the board at that time, but in early 2020, EJ Water came to us and requested that we help submit a grant for them to increase their water capacity at the plant. Last month, it was announced that EJ Water received a $2 million grant through the Shelby County received a $2 million grant that will be passed through to the EJ Water so they could do that project. I think it's a big deal for the county to help the infrastructure in the rural communities, in the rural areas. So that's the only update I really have. I don't know if everybody saw that email when it came through.
Was that about that impoundment?
It was back in early 20, right around the time we were meeting out at the Lions. club we met at, yeah. So, yeah.
That guy brought us a package and they were building a lake and a
Yeah,
second
they-
treatment plant.
Yeah. But I think they changed the scope of the grant and it's being used for something else. I think an update on the water treatment or something because they needed that other, so they went ahead and started on that project. So it was quite the ordeal. I was getting some phone calls from the state that I had no clue what I was getting for them. So we got it figured out and everything worked out. So just want to give everybody an update on that. So
Did he indicate if they're expanding their customer base any? I still know some people that wait.
oh, I know some people that are waiting for water too.
it's
I think they're always continuously trying to add more subscribers. It's just where
But that
they
grant
get
didn't have nothing to do with that.
No, this is only I think they're using it for updating the water treatment plant on this grant is what it was going to be used for. Don't quote me on that because it's been a month since I've really looked at it. So, chairman updates. We've got a lot of them here tonight. I need Steve Wimpum, Airport Landing Field Commission, a 3-year term. Second.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sharon Ongman, Airport Committee, sorry Derek, I'm going to have you replace Derek Piercy. Do I have a motion?
Yeah.
Gary Gergany, second. Mark Bennett. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Cassie Cox, Airport Committee, replace Julie. I'll try to get you on one. Motion? Mark, second. Sharon, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Teresa Bain, Liquor Committee to replace Don Tate.
So moved.
Lynn, Denny, seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Dr. Rachel Late, okay, what I was going to say. Health Board for a 3-year term.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Gary Patterson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Greg Miller, Health Board, 3-year term. Motion?
Yeah.
Any? Jesse, seconds. Discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Opposed? Rosie Shuck, Health Board, 3-year term.
I'll make that.
Second. Denny. Discussion? All those in favor?
Yeah. Aye.
Opposed? Sue Berryman, Health Board, 3-year term. Motion. David Switz, second. Lynn. Discussion? And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Jim Loft, Health Board, 3-year term. Motion. Gary Patterson, second.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Robert Rowley, Strasburg Fire,
Protection District.
yes, sorry, I don't like to come up with the police department, I knew that was not right. Sheesh, 3-year term. Bobby makes a motion. Second, John Tate. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Kenneth Fry, Tourism.
So moved.
Lynn. Second. Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Greg Miller, Tourism.
Yeah.
Kenny. Second. Gary Patterson. All those in favor? Discussion first, sorry. All those in favor? Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mark Shanks, Tourism. Motion. Gary Burgany, second. Teresa. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Maria Schaefer, Tourism. David, second. Bobby. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? David Ogden, Tourism.
So moved.
Mark.
Second.
Bobby. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. I have no correspondence this month. Old business. Sharon?
Mine's not really old, it's back on the chairman appointments. There was a lot for the county health department. Is that a complete new committee every 3 years? I mean, will there be some existing people on the health boards to help with the new people coming on? So
They're not new, they're reappointments.
That's what I was thinking, but I
Okay.
couldn't verify that.
What?
Oh,
They're all
okay.
reappointments.
I just noticed so many coming on, it's like, oh.
Yeah, I knew Rosie was on there already. I knew
Okay.
she's been on there for quite a while. That's the only one I could say that I knew 100%.
They're reappointments.
Okay.
Dr. Lake's fairly new.
Any other old business? You want to approve the claims before we go on there? Gary?
We've talked about the audit, finishing up the sheriff's, changing. Has that been done, started? Any news on it? Anybody willing to do the audit? What direction are we going there?
So I completely did not hear a word you said. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Repeat.
the audit for the sheriff leaving.
Okay.
We have voted to look into that and get it taken care of. Is that being done? Is it?
I do not know the status on that as of right now. I know as far as our budget for audits this year, we are almost 100% over. I don't know anything else. My knowledge was we would hire them to do it. Whether they have started it or anything, I cannot answer that.
Okay.
I have not got any correspondence from them saying that they have or have not.
Well, that's a time issue too, that we're way past, and
I understand.
Want to make sure it's done.
I understand.
Do we have a cost to what that's gonna be?
They gave us a rough cost on that, but not that one they did not. I thought they did. Okay. Guess the question, the answer to that is it's open-ended. Approve the payment of claims. I have a motion to approve the payment of claims. Second. Mark, any discussion? Jeff?
Yeah, there's one that purchasing committee kind of stuck out as a little odd. It's in the 029 file. There was a bill in there, it was judge ordered for $5,000 for, gosh, dang it, can't remember his name, Rick, Stewart. It was judge ordered for $5,000. I don't know what this was for. I'm assuming it's for the FOP. Can anybody enlighten us on what this is all about? Is this past grievances, or what is this?
I couldn't answer that. Anybody on the
It's
committee?
I can answer that.
You can answer that?
It's the arbitration that's pending for the FOP grievance.
Which one? Or is
That I
this,
don't know.
or is this like 5 of them, or is this one from the
I don't know.
past?
I don't know the answer to that.
I thought we had some of them settled, but apparently not.
I think there's several still pending, yeah.
So I just want to make you aware, when we approve the bills tonight, there is $5,000 being spent on fighting grievances. Arbitration.
Is that gonna be 5,000 per grievance, you think?
I have no idea.
Each grievance, can go into arbitration. So if there are 5 grievances, it's a good possibility that you could have 5 different arbitrations on that. But if there are similar grievances that are together, they could be thrown in as one. But to answer your question, yes, 5 arbitrations, so it could be $5,000.
I guess to be transparent here, the reason I'm bringing that up, if you're set on the purchasing committee, you probably would have known this. But when we get this, from Jessica sends this out this afternoon, at noon, 1 o'clock, I don't give us much time to look through this for the rest of the board. So I just wanted to make you aware of it, so being transparent here.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote?
Kenny Barr.
Yeah.
Mark Bennett.
Yes.
Teresa Bain.
Yes.
Brian Hoffman.
Yes.
Cassie Cox.
Yes.
Denny Durgovich.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergany.
Yes.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yeah.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Warman.
Yes.
Gary Patterson.
Yes.
Derek Piercy.
Yes.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Slifer.
Yes.
David Switz.
Yep.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 19 yes.
I would entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2C1 for dismissal of specific employees.
So moved.
Do I have a second? A second. All those in favor? Lynn
Lynn?
and Denny.
Jenny, okay.
Sorry. I wouldn't let you something.
All right, thanks.
I won't hang it out. All those in favor? Go into closed session.
We got a roll call.
We got a roll call? Okay, it's a roll call, sorry.
Okay, Kenny Barr.
Yes.
Mark Bennett.
Yes.
Teresa Bank.
Yes.
Brian Kaufman.
Yes.
Cassie Cox.
Yes.
Dennis Durgovich.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergany.
Yes.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman. Bobby Warman.
Yes.
Gary Patterson.
Yes.
Derek Piercy.
Yes.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Slifer.
Yes.
David Switz.
Yep.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
All right, we're going to enter closed session. We'll let you know when we get done.